Would they still have breath if not for the left? Back in March, a Balkan Muslim killed 2 U.S. Air Force servicemen, he says, after watching an online video of U.S. troops raping an Iraqi girl. But what the terrorist, Arik Yuka, saw was actually a scene from the Brian De Palma-directed anti-war film, Redacted. On Wednesday, the terrorist told a German court, quote, "I thought what I saw in that video these people would do in Afghanistan," adding, "What I did was wrong, but I cannot undo what I did." One of the film's producers responded to the tragic mess, saying, quote, "I'm terribly sorry to hear that, but I don't understand how my movie would impel anyone to commit murder. The real culprit is the tragedy of war. It is not Brian De Palma's brilliant film." Brilliant means crappy, right?
It does.
Patty Ann, do the producers of Redacted have blood on their hands, or is the only person that should be blamed here the terrorist who actually killed the 2 airmen?
Well, you know, it's not unusual for movies to inspire real-life crimes. You had this Oklahoma couple who went on a killing spree after watching Natural Born Killers. After Fight Club came out, there were fight clubs started. And little-known fact, the Spanish Inquisition was inspired by the Blair Witch Project.
Really? Really?
True story.
Wow.
I have a feeling if I were doing the halftime report tonight, I might find otherwise.
You might buzz that.
But since I don't have a computer in front of me, I have to take your word for it.
Doesn't that kill you?
Yeah, I know. I know. Hey, Kaylee, regardless of whether Brian De Palma bears any actual responsibility for the murders, could you say that he was irresponsible for making this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the purpose of depicting our soldiers that way. But I don't think he's directly responsible for 2 people's deaths. I think that's wrong to say that. But, I mean, I think there's no denying Hollywood is indeed responsible for painting our troops in a certain light. I mean, any movie you see these days about the war in Iraq or Afghanistan, you're going to see troops raping, pillaging, murdering. I mean, that's hyperbole, of course, but they depict them in a bad light, and it's wrong. And if you have a message, sure, put it out there, but there's no reason to paint our troops in that manner.
Right. But should an artist worry about something like, is it an artist's responsibility to worry about something like that?
You see, I think they make a concerted effort to put things in like that in there, to purvey this message that every soldier is like the soldiers at Abu Ghraib.
Right.
So.
Don, here's my thing. I hate blaming movies or TV shows or whatever for people's actions. But what bothers me about Hollywood is they're the first ones to throw up their hands and say, hey, it wasn't me when something bad happens. But they love to pat themselves on the back for making important films or very special TV programs. Don't they need to make up their minds?
Look, I'm with you, man. I can't put the blame on a movie for something that happens. Tootsie's one of my favorite movies, and I hardly ever walk around in women's clothing. Right. But, you know, I liken it to
the... They just put the camera on me.
I'm not the director. But I liken it to the West Memphis 3, okay? These guys went to jail for 18 years for a crime that they didn't commit because they listened to heavy metal, and heavy metal is evil and satanic. Right. So, therefore, that must have taught them how to kill people, and we find out that it didn't. Now, when somebody kills somebody else and they're listening to Justin Bieber, you never hear about it.
Right. And we should.
And we should.
And we should. Yeah. Bill, should we even believe what this guy says?
Absolutely not. And Hot Todd Kelly, I hate to put you on the spot, but can we look at the picture of that guy again? There we go. Listen, I don't think we should be blaming Brian De Palma. I think we should be blaming Depeche Mode. Because anyone who is still walking around rocking a look like that should be held suspect. That is one troubled individual. It had nothing to do with De Palma. It had to do with depressing alt-rock.
All right. I think what this all gets down to is, do artists have a responsibility to society or only to their own art? And it's certainly something to think about.
Wow, I hate you.
We'll be right back.
Old Jack Springer on us.
So, do you have a comment on the show? Email us. It's redeye@foxnews.com. And to leave a voicemail on Greg's direct line, call 212-462-5050. And still to come, the halftime report from Remy Spencer. You're watching Red Eye on FNC, so stick around.
Tonight's halftime report is sponsored by Carlos the Crocodile, that thick-skinned aquatic reptile who loves a dip in the pool as much as his human counterparts. Thanks, Carlos the Crocodile.